Welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back with you guys with another MLB prospects video, and today I have two props for you guys for the late to mid-afternoon slate on the MLB board. So we have Elliot Ramirez over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, as well as Brandon Nimmo over 7.5 hitter fantasy score. So let's get into it. Let's start off with Elliot Ramirez. So with him, he's going up against Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland is a middle-of-the-road pitcher, back end, of your rotation type starter. He has a low K percentage. That is something we target, as well as a low hard contact percentage or hard hit percentage, which is another thing we like to target. So in this scenario, and then also he has a slow fastball. So fastball velocity is down at 91 to 92 miles per hour. So he's not going to fool a bunch of hitters throwing the ball, past him. And then also when we look at his splits, he gives up the identical average to lefties and righties, as he gives up a 316 batting average to lefties and righties. Now, granted, on the board for prize picks, they have a super small sample size of actual props where you can select the over-under for the hitters for the San Francisco Giants. So I wanted to kind of just go with this specific over-under prop and not just the because a lot of their props on the board is like Green Goblins, which I think is a waste of time because they're just going to lower your payout if you pair that with something else. So we're trying to maximize profit. So we're going to stick with the over-under prop as opposed to a Goblin prop, which may be easier to cash, but a lot of times they're not sure things. So one thing about another thing about Kyle Freeland too is with runners in scoring position, he gives up a 381 batting average, and then with runners on base, he gives up a 295 batting average as well. And then we flip and we look at Elliot Ramirez and see how he stacks up against lefties. So against lefties, he's batting like 411. Yep, he's batting 411 against lefties. And then also in his situational hitting, he has a 319 batting average with men on base, right? And then he has a 344 batting average of men in scoring position. So I really like him in this scenario if he have runners on base in front of him, as well as he has protection in the lineup behind him to be able to knock him in if he happen to get on base on via single, walk, double, triple, whatever the case may be. He has people that are capable of being able to score him behind him as well. So that is really key, especially when you take hits, runs, and RBIs. Moving forward to our next hitter, which is Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo is going up against a person with, you guys have guessed it, the same criteria: low K percentage, low walk percentage, low hard hit percentage. So it sets up as a perfect over for batters against him, as he does walk people, and then he also gives up a lot of hard contact. So he's going up against Brandon Nimmo, as I stated. Now let's look at his splits. So his lefty-righty splits, he gives up a 303 batting average to lefties, right? And then let's look at his men in scoring position. So men in scoring position, he's a little stingy. He gives up 1.95 batting average to people in scoring position, but he has a super small sample size of having men in scoring position. So I feel like a lot of this is kind of skewed because of his small sample size of scenarios where he may have had 2 outs in a situation where men are in scoring position, and he's capable of getting that final out to minimize the batting average against him and men with runners in scoring position. But with men on base, he's given up a 296 batting average to batters when runners are on base. So I like that as well. And then also another thing with Nimmo, he's a patient hitter. He's a professional hitter. He's not going to swing at things out of the zone. Another thing with him is that he has really good bat speed, and he has the number one thing that is the kryptonite to a pitcher that doesn't throw the ball hard, and that he gives up a lot of hard contact, which is hard hit percentage. And he also has good bat speed and barrel percentage and excellent expected slugging and expected batting average as well. And then we're going to fast forward to his splits, right? So for Nimmo, let's take this out of the way. So for Nimmo, he is going up against Munoz is a righty, right? Okay, so he's a righty, and his splits against righty, he's batting 237. But the biggest thing, that may not seem great on the surface, but when he's on the road against righties, he has a significantly higher batting average at 286. So I like that as well. And then we're going to look at the pitches that Munoz throws to lefties, predominantly to lefties. Let me see him scroll down. So as you can see right here, he mainly throws a four-seam slider and changeup. So we're going to see how he fares against those two pitches. So four-seam slider and changeup against the four-seam. He bats 261. He has a hard hit percentage of 57% with a expected slugging of 447, which is really good. And then against the slider, he bats 193, but he also has an expected batting average, which is higher than his batting average against that pitch at 209. And then he has a 35% hard hit percentage as well. And then his last pitch was the changeup. So let's look and see how he fares against the changeup. Against the changeup, he bats 310, and he has a hard hit percentage of 54.2%. So he bodes well against him as well. So I really like Nimmo in this situation. Then another thing too, if they happen to pull him early, this pitcher Munoz, because he is a young kid. So if he happens to get in trouble early, they are also having the benefit of going up against one of the worst bullpens in the NL, as they're the 8th worst team as far as ERA given up in the bullpen for the Marlins. And then they also give up a lot of home runs at 32 home runs. They walk a lot of batters at 150 walks. So I really like this matchup for him as well. So those are my two picks for the MLB slate today. So I have Heliot Ramirez over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Brandon Nimmo over 7.5 hitter fantasy score. I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.